It's Cricbuzz Chatto with Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan on the fourth evening of the second test match between England and the West Indies at Old Trafford. And Vaughanie, this time yesterday we thought after the washout England would need to find a way to get the West Indies all out for 269 or fewer to enforce the follow-on to have some sort of a big finish on the fifth day. In the end they failed to do so, but the test match sped up at the perfect time and we might have another humdinger on our hands tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we will have. I just think with the way that Broad bowled with that second new ball, the pitch just seemed to explode. There was all sorts of action. There was balls nipping back, balls keeping low, balls bouncing. Then Chris Woakes followed suit as well. Joss Buttler and Ben Stokes strolling out there to open the batting showed you the intent that Joe Root wants to play this last day in. I think he's going to try and get another 60 or 70 quickly, and he'll want around 85 overs if possible, just to give himself a chance of a second new ball, just for a few overs later on in the day. But you know, I thought the West Indies were playing with so much control. I thought Brathwaite, Shamar Brooks played tremendous cricket, and it was that short ball theory that Joe Root turned to. It was Ben Stokes. He'd not bowled for about 50 odd overs, and all of a sudden he's thrown the ball, went for the short theory, got rid of Brathwaite, then Stuart Broad followed suit with that. What it did do, it didn't get wickets, but it reduced the scoring rate from the West Indies perspective, and it allowed England then to take the second new ball, and it cleaned them out. And I think we're in for an absolute ripper of a last day. England should have enough because the pitch has started to play plenty of tricks, but this West Indies team, they're good fighters.
That's right. Well, you mentioned Ben Stokes and his later introduction, but until that point, I mean, they weren't quite in cruise control, but 1 wicket in the first session, 2 wickets in the second session. Stokes comes on and bowls 11 overs, 57 short balls in the space of 11 overs. Pretty much every ball was a bouncer in that marathon spell. Sets up the pins, picks up Brathwaite, who batted beautifully for 75. And then it's Stuart Broad. No wickets to his name. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's a fun one. When he gets the legs pumping and the knees going, he's so hard to repel. And it was Broad, a spell of 3 for 1 at one stage with the second new ball, setting up the pins for Woakes as well. That was resilience from those two.
Yeah, I mean, character is one thing that Stuart Broad certainly doesn't lack. I mean, he'd not got a wicket until that second new ball. You know, what you've got in Stuart Broad is plenty of heart. You know, he ran in all day without a great deal of luck. There wasn't a great deal of movement or swing for him at all. He or Chris Woakes weren't really getting the shape that they generally get until that second new ball. It almost was a bit of an epitome of the way England have kind of bowled in these conditions. I think for many years we've always said that the 82 to 85 miles an hour bowler needs swing and seam. Well, with that second new ball, it got it. And when you get it, and you've got the likes of Woakes and Broad and Sam Curran who pretty much get their areas spot on, you're going to put the opposing team under a huge amount of pressure, and that's exactly what they did. And that spell of Broad and then Woakes and Sam Curran has really given England a great chance of winning this Test match.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, at one stage the West Indies were 242 for 4, so not far away at all from that 270 benchmark. The collapse is 4 for 18, and at one stage the West Indies are 8 down, still needing 10 runs to clear the follow-on hurdle, which at one stage it appeared as though they wouldn't, but in the end, thanks to Roston Chase making a timely half-century, they did just get there. From Woakes' perspective, I will note one thing. One of Woakes' decisions was given out leg before wicket, overturning a decision from umpire Goff. It had been nearly 5 years since the last time that a decision that Goff had given out had been gone the other way. I mean, it shows what a fantastic umpire he is.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talk too much about the players and forget there's two officials out there making decisions. And you know, the pairing of Richard Kettleby and Richard Illingworth got a bit of criticism at the Ageas Bowl. But you've got to remember, these are guys that have not umpired for months. It's exactly like the players, probably a little bit ring rusty. I didn't think they made too many howlers, but just the odd umpire call went against them. Here, Michael Goff, he's the guru. He really is the guru with the white coat on. I was absolutely staggered that he actually eventually got one slightly wrong, and it's not one that's slightly wrong because the bat hits the pad. You can clearly see from front on that he would have thought there was an inside edge. But yeah, as an umpire, well, those stats you mentioned, in 5 years to be the first one, it's remarkable that you've got someone who makes so many decisions over after over. To have that kind of record is incredible.
All right, Vaughanie, let's go into the hot spot. In the hotspot, Vaughanie, I want to talk about Dom Bess. A lot of analysis on his couple of spells that he bowled today. From what you've seen so far, do you think that at this early stage in his career, not yet 23 years old, that he's got the capacity to bowl out West Indies tomorrow? He might be called upon to do just that.
Yeah, I thought he bowled okay, but he didn't threaten as much as I thought he would have done. I mean, saying he bowled okay, he probably knows himself that he didn't quite have the day that he would have expected. I think most of us expected the off-spinner to have 3 or 4 to his name today. Thought the ball would have been spitting. It wasn't. The pitch played nicely. He may get more turn and bounce tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to put too much pressure on a young player. But when you've got Jack Leach bowling at lunch and at tea, maybe England are thinking about a little twist of a change for the next game, whether they're thinking about 2 spinners, whether they're thinking about bringing Jack Leach in because there's so many right-handed batsmen in this West Indies batting lineup, and England need a ball to be spinning away from the outside edge. We'll have to wait and see, but it's a perfect day for him to go on and get 5 for tomorrow and make sure that he's playing on Friday. So it's all in Dom Best's hand. I just think he can bowl it a bit slower. I think he bowls it quite quick, and I just wonder if he could just reduce the pace, just give it a bit more flight, try and tempt the batsman into the big strokes. He likes to fire it in, and he's not as tall as Roston Chase, who got so much more bounce, so you can understand that. But I just think if he can just get it a little bit slower and just a bit more flighted, it might cost him a few more runs, but it might buy him a couple more wickets.
Pressing fast forward, Vaughan, there's a clutter of wickets at the end, 8 of them in the final session. 2 of them were England wickets, Joss Buttler not scoring and then Zach Crawley falling shortly thereafter. So England start tomorrow with a lead of 219, 98 overs available to them. As a former England captain, do the maths for us. How many runs, how many overs? How do you get that balance right to ensure the West Indies can't win the game? Or do you want to give them the potential that they can win it so they chase?
Well, just think about 2017 at Headingley. It was this England captain, Joe Root, that did declare, and the West Indies chased them down. But that was in a series where they were 1-0 up. This is in a series where they're 1-0 down. I would expect England, you take 2 overs off straight away, so there's only 96 overs remaining in the day because of the change. I think England will try and bat for 10 overs, 10 or 11 overs to make sure that they've got around 85 overs just in case they need that second new ball later on in the day. Even if it's just for 4 or 5 overs, it could be the difference between winning a test match and drawing a test match. I don't think the West Indies can win the game. On the last day pitch here at Old Trafford, it won't go like Headingley 2007. It seemed to get flatter and flatter. This won't do that. So I don't think the West Indies can win. I really think England are clear favourites to win this test match. I think they'll create plenty of opportunities tomorrow. So
it'll be England's leadership access of Joe Root and Ben Stokes tomorrow, resuming with England 37 for 2. But the good news is we've got a cracking finish on day 5. Let's hope so. Follow it all on the live blog on Cricbuzz throughout the day, and afterwards, Cricbuzz chatter with Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan.